It's playtime. It's playtime.
Hello?
It's playtime. No more time for the lame shit. It's playtime.
No more time for the lame shit.
It's playtime.
No more time for the lame shit.
It's playtime.
No more time for the lame shit.
It's playtime. No more time for the lame shit. It's playtime. No more time for these niggas trying to get it right. Since I was 9, mom made, I'ma whip the white.
Whip it.
Young nigga living, trying to live my life. But these niggas know.
Shit. Woo.
It's playtime. It's playtime.
Hello?
It's playtime. No more time for the lame shit. It's playtime.
No more time for the lame shit.
Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. I'm 915 straight, and all my niggas too. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. Kocheki was thinking I'd be a scientist. I chose the court, that's why I learned it was all in the wrist. I put the ball down, then I picked up the whisk and started whipping it good like I was Uncle Rick. All I know is swish, my nigga, all I know is swish. I don't shoot him, but I sure know how I can press him. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do. Top down in the winter, that's how winners do.
Going into a hostile environment, these fans are ready to knock them off course. Welcome to Rentschler Field in East Hartford, home to the UCONN Huskies. As we'll see the number 23 team in the country, the Syracuse Orange, taking on a conference rival from the American, the UCONN Huskies. For EA Sports, I'm Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack with me. Guys, can't wait to get this started. UCONN will deliver the opening kickoff, and we'll get this game going. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Secondary walks up on the line, showing press coverage. Into the pile, maybe got one. He stopped at the 21. Guys, let's talk about Syracuse. They've climbed into the top 25. Nothing has been given to these guys, but they're quickly becoming a problem for everybody else.
Well, they are, and they earned that number beside their name. They've played really, really well. The question is now, can you keep it? David, how many times in the past have we seen a team outside the top 25 finally get ranked and then get blown out the very next week?
And there's not a lot of difference between 25 and 45. A lot of times, so many people close together. So earn that ranking and try to keep climbing.
The Orange with a lot of work to do on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Finds his big tight end. He'll get a fresh set of downs, stopped at the 31-yard line.
Well, you love to see this on the first drive of the game, right? 3rd down, go back to the old faithful, the slant pass, something you put in on day 1 install back in spring practice. Executed perfectly, keep this drive alive.
Looking for a physical attack from the gun. Found a little space, and he's got 4 to the 35.
And that's a really nice play. It's impressive. When it's 1st down and the defense thinks you might be running the football, you still can line up. You can get some movement at the point of attack and find a little crease for your running back.
Solid pickup of 4 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 6. Quarterback on the keeper. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple.
Phenomenal job by the defense that time, shutting down the option play. They knew they were going to see this in this game, and all week long in practice, they really focused on this assignment football, making sure the dive, the quarterback, the pitch, all taken away. Nowhere to go with the football that time offensively. The defense coming up with a huge negative play.
On 3rd down, he drops to throw. He's got him. They'll make the stop about a yard short of the 1st down. You would have really hoped that you would have gotten that extra yard on 3rd down, but now on 4th, and maybe you still have to go for it.
And it's interesting. 3rd and 1, you throw the football. The more physical team usually wins. Do you feel confident enough to run the football early in the game, in your own territory? Can you go get 1 yard with the running game? I'm always the guy that's going to roll the dice and go for it.
They're throwing for it on 4th down. And the incomplete pass lets this defense get the ball back to its own in great field position.
That's a great job there by the defense here early in this game, getting a huge stop, and they've got an opportunity to make the opponent pay. Offense taking over now in great field position. Let's see what they can do here from a play calling standpoint to try to put some points on the board.
And he does a really nice job finding open space and making a good gain before the stop is made. The Huskies can play this 2nd down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. A little too anxious along that offensive line. That'll be a false start. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. Now on 2nd down. Back to pass. A strike downfield. And he's brought down after a nice gain.
And when you get zone coverage and you're running curls and the wide receiver sprints off the ball, you know what happens? That DB starts to bail, and that wide receiver comes back, and it's easy pitch and catch for the offense.
From the 22 on 1st and 10. The give is to Williams. We'll give him a couple on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Guys, for just a second, let's talk about UConn. The biggest problem for schools at this level is getting enough big bodies, particularly on the offensive line, and getting a 3-star guy like this can really help them at this level, Jesse.
Yeah, and when you get guys like that on your offensive line, if you can get a couple dudes like that, all of a sudden now you can hang with bigger, better competition. Games are still won and lost in the trenches. I know this is just one piece, but getting this 3-star offensive lineman who is very highly recruited, that was a massive win for this head coach.
UConn is now threatening in the red zone. From the gun on 3rd down. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up.
Well, this is a disappointing drive for the offense, considering where this drive started in their opponent territory. Now you're at 4th and long. You've got to be better throwing the football in those types of situations.
Looks as if they'll send out the field goal unit. The holder will kneel at the 24, a 34-yarder coming from the right hash. It's good. He could have hit a string right in the middle of the uprights there. And that'll put the first points of the game on the board. It's 3-0.
And he'll take that first drive. Like, you wanted a touchdown, but you gave the people here at home something to cheer about in that first drive. Move the football enough to get your kicker an opportunity and to put 3 on the board.
The returner will field it and bring it back. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. They love to put a long drive together here as they start from their own 21. Leaves it with the running back. He's stopped after picking up 1 to the 23.
You definitely want to commit to the run game. You want to establish the run game. You want the defense to honor it. But if it doesn't work a little later down the road, you might think about airing that puppy out.
Didn't get much on 1st down. It's 2nd and 9. Now the play fake. And the pressure was too much.
sack, and that's going to be the big determining factor in this football game. A week ago, he only got sacked one time. They've already got him on the ground. If they want to win this football game, they got to keep getting after the quarterback.
On 3rd and long, a check down would be the last resort. Going deep. And this is dropped. Incomplete pass. He had a huge gain in his fingers, and he couldn't hold on.
Sometimes it takes quarterbacks a few plays to really get into the rhythm of the game and not force things. I think the quarterback that time was really trying to force the ball to his wide receiver, but against man coverage, there were other guys on that play that were open that could have had a chance. So this quarterback just needs to settle down a little bit. He won't be throwing as many incompletions if he just lets the coverage tell him where to go.
The Orange will have to punt. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. His first one of the day gave that leg a workout 5 times in last week's victory. That's a perfect example of not settling for a fair catch. Pick up whatever yardage you can and help out the offense. The UConn offense goes back to work. So they've put up some early points and now to build on this 3-0 lead. He lobs one high down the left side. He caught it. Can't quite cross the plane to get the 6, but they'll have the first down.
Man, this offense is so dangerous, Reese. They've got dudes all over the field that can make plays. There's a big gainer in the pass game.
You get a chunk of yards like that, now the defense is really on its heels. And the Huskies line it up with a 1st and goal. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. A 1st down run on the doorstep. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Huskies. Follow the blockers. The offensive line will take you to the hallelujah land.
And I tell you what, most of the time, Reese, it requires a little bit of skill to find that hole and, slither through a little crack. That was not a crack. That was wide open. Didn't take a lot of vision because the blocking was outstanding.
And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Boys, if it's happening in college football, we've got eyes on it. Check this out. Troy is currently trailing in this one, but it feels like the tide may be turning. This program has picked itself up before, and it's capable of it again today.
They'll get this drive started from their own 26. They'll start this drive going to the air. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16.
I love the defensive effort there. They didn't get him right away. They stayed after him. He was scrambling, going backwards. They get the sack on the first play of the drive.
To the air on second down. It's complete on the right side. And that defense is there to guide him out of bounds after a short gain. That's the end of the period, and UConn has the lead. They came out and jumped on them early in the first. Let's take a break and look at the first quarter stats. This could be a pivotal moment in this game as we open the second period and they try to find a way to answer. This offense had a little extra time to think about it. Let's see what they have on third down. Shakes off the defender. He stopped short, and it's fourth down. Syracuse will be forced to punt. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. UConn going back to work on offense. They stuck the last drive in the end zone. They'll try to follow suit here. The give to the back. Pretty good effort on that one to work his way up to the 42.
And those body blows really, really matter. Like, I want to be able to hand the ball off to my running back 10, 15 times a game. Make the defense tackle them, wear them out. Sometimes these 3 to 4 yard runs, later in football games, they turn into 5 to 15 to 20 yard gains just because of the body blow effect.
Nothing to do with the football, and he just throws it away. It'll be third down.
Good decision by the QB. You're outside the pocket. You're trying to find an open target. No one's open. Throw it away and live to play another day.
Third and long from the 42. If they can get some of it, it might give them a chance to go for it on fourth down. From the gun, wants to pass. Throws to the wideout. Pass is incomplete, and by this stage of his career, you'd think a junior quarterback might take a little better care of the football. UConn will have to punt it away. This will be their first punt of the afternoon. He gets the first one off, and he was busier than he hoped in that loss last week, being called on 5 times. Coverage was all over him before he had a chance to breathe, and they knock him down deep in his own territory. Man down on the... as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. The Orange have the ball back and ready to go to work. This offense has been stagnant so far. 1-2-3 kick the last time they had the ball, and this time really needing to get a score. Handoff from the gun. Gets it past the marker. Really good job by everybody there. Well blocked, good run, and a first down.
Well, he was able to gash him on that play. You just give this guy 1 inch, one little crease. He puts his foot in the ground, and he gets north fast.
Now from their own 20-yard line, it's 1st and 10. Wants to throw on first down. Fires to the tight end. Oh, he's got some space. They'll mark him out of bounds at about the 29-yard line. Syracuse might take a shot here on 2nd and short. Gives it on the option. And the defense stops him just short of the first down. Maybe needed a few more chain links to move the sticks.
Great job of contained by this defense. And in order to do that, the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively has got to be able to set the point and force the football back into traffic. And that's exactly what happened here.
They turn to the passing game on 3rd and short. Wide open downfield. And the explosiveness, the big gainer gets it to the 49-yard line. They have been stagnant on offense, but finally a little forward movement as they've got a 1st and 10. Out of the gun, they give to the back. And I think they'll give him 2 on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Run game is good. Balance is good. Now, listen, if the run game isn't good, then you got to pass the football a little bit more. But sometimes you got to keep them honest, take them chunk by chunk.
After picking up a couple at 2nd and 8. Using his feet. Slips a tackle, and he's got room. Didn't get much done on that run. He'll fight his way out and maybe pick up a yard. Syracuse needs to come up with a big 3rd down play to keep the drive going. From the gun, wants to pass. Release to the back. Caught near the sticks. It's Hart. He gets the job done on 3rd down. They move the chains. It's at the 37.
And the offense showing off the short passing game, moving the sticks. Nice job, and look at them. They're right on the football, ready to capitalize on this momentum.
An explosive play in the running game as he's got the 1st down.
And after giving up a long run defensively, they don't have a chance to substitute now. They've got to get ready to go because the offense is going.
Touchdown, Orange! Made the grab and took it on in for the score.
One of the reasons this offense is so exciting to watch, they've got guys that are dangerous after the catch. And if this quarterback gets through his progression, David, gets you in stride, these guys will take it to the house.
Man, it's your job to do the rest, right? You hit me in stride where I don't have to stop running. I don't have to break down. It makes it so easy. The connection between quarterback, wide receiver, you can tell this is a good one, and that's why they got 6 on that play.
And right down the middle. They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. No reason to be in a big rush. They have some time here late in the half. They go to the ground. Pass the sticks and still on his feet. That's the kind of play that can really get you going as they get it out to the 36.
All right, defense, that's what we can't do. We can't give up this many chunk yards on the ground. Got to commit more guys to the line of scrimmage. Got to get those running backs on the ground. That's way too easy.
Looking downfield on 1st down. He hurls one deep down the left side. And they took a shot on that one but couldn't make the connection. It's incomplete.
Yeah, I don't know if the quarterback got confused on 1st down. He might have thought the defense was going to be in man coverage that time, but they were in zone. They fooled him and just didn't seem like he had his eyes in the right place, was forcing that ball to his intended target. The window way too small. The guy was not open, so that didn't have that chance to be complete.
Working well behind the sticks on 2nd down. Power football with the run. You want to make sure to maximize those types of runs, and he gets it out to the 41. How bold will they be on third down after that last run? They'll take this lead to the 2-minute timeout and see if they can tack on a little more before the break. Ball is at the 41 as this defense tries to force the punt on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. It's caught downfield. He puts him in business across the 50 into the 46-yard line. It'll be first down. Guys, you never want to sound the upset alert bell too early, but might be time to at least know where the button is for it.
Know where the button is, and listen, there's no need to panic yet, but if you're the unranked team, just like this, when you're playing a better team, you want to come in and you want to hang around. Hang around, Jesse, and they're doing just that, staying in this game and have a lead.
Yeah, the unranked team, they've been playing with more intensity in this one. And I think if you're a leader right now on the ranked squad, you've got to be talking to your guys and waking everybody up. This coaching staff is going to have to make some halftime adjustments, but they're going to have to give an earful to their guys to come out here in the second half and start making some plays.
Snagged out of the air. Several defenders get an assist on that tackle.
And that throw was a bullet by the quarterback on that curl route in zone coverage. And how about the anticipation? He gets rid of this pass before his receiver is even turned around. I love it.
On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. He's going to take off. Quarterback gets the first down. Good run on the play, and he slides to avoid the hit.
That has to sting as a defense. In a 3rd and obvious passing situation, you're going against this dual-threat quarterback you know can scramble, right? You've got to have somebody at home either spying him or mirroring him, expecting that to happen. That time, the defense wasn't in the right position, and the quarterback absolutely killed them with his legs, picking up the first down.
They'll try the run. Wrestled to the ground, but he's inside the 10 and down to the 9. Going to work on 2nd down in the red zone is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. They'll give it to the back. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple.
And if you want to bring all your tight ends in the game, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring in more linebackers, more defensive linemen, get ready for the run, less speed on the field, especially when you get down here in the red zone. I feel like I can match up man-to-man with those tight ends in the back end. Nice job understanding a run was coming.
He might want another play. They'll snap it from the gun on 3rd down. Makes the catch. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Huskies.
And they trust their QB to execute like they have the whole first half, and he delivers, and they build on this lead and build their momentum going into halftime.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And with the extra point, they're now up by a touchdown and a field goal at 10. They put together a 74-yard touchdown drive. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. Inside 30 seconds to play in the half. We'll see how aggressive they are on this drive. starts the drive trying to go up top. Throws for the tight end. Got his man downfield. And the seam on the back. That is just a gargantuan play as he has it all the way down to the 12. One more snap coming before juice boxes and orange slices. Looking to throw on first down. Unleashes to the end zone. Touchdown, Syracuse. Snagged in the end zone to give them 6.
Man, what a great job by this offense finishing the half. It wasn't perfect. You're still trailing, but now you've cut that lead to a one-score game. Now in the second half, we can come out, make some things happen. We just created some big momentum for this offense. Now we take it into halftime.
The AT unit on the field. And with the extra point, they close it to a 17-14 game. That's the end of the second quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin and our halftime update. Syracuse has it teed up, ready to kick off and start this second half. And there will be no return on this one as the ball bounds into the end zone. The UConn offense goes back to work. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. That's it fly. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. And he picks up a huge chunk of yards on that play before he's finally hauled down. They made the defense pay with that last big chunk of yardage. Now 1st and 10 from the 30. Leaves it with the back. Dropped after a pickup of 3 down to the 26.
And man, the big fellas up front, they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get talked about a lot unless it's negative, but they're the big component, man. They've got to get some push, to get some running lanes, get this running game going. They're the ones that make it go.
After the productive first down play, it's 2nd and 6. Looking to fire. Gets it out quickly. He'll go out of bounds. They'll mark him at the 16.
This defense is going to have to be careful. Not only do they have to worry about this guy running the football, but they've got to keep their eye on him when he runs routes too. He is a versatile back.
UConn comes to the line after getting another first down. They're threatening to score, and they'll throw it. And the defense makes a play, and they get the quarterback down at the 26.
How about this defense coming out aggressive on first down? They're in the red zone. They're like, no, we're going to take the fight to you. Now setting up a 2nd down and long and putting them in a great position to be successful.
The Huskies have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Give to the running back. And you want to talk about gang tackling. Everybody on the defense run to the ball. Ball's at the 24. A lot of confidence in their kicker from here, but they'd love to take it off of his foot and convert the first down. Pocket breaking down. Fires on the move. Oh, it's picked off. That's not the start they hoped for.
And that time the defense in 3rd and long, 6 DBs on the field. There's not going to be anywhere to throw the football with that zone coverage. They do a great job reading the quarterback's eyes, David. They break on the ball for the pick.
Yeah, great job forcing the 3rd and long, predictable situation. Like you said, now you got them right where you want them. You practice those situations, all those extra DBs, and then
Breaks into the open. 30. Inside the touchdown, Cuse. They take the lead with the 6.
I mean, let's go. That's a day's worth of yards right there on one carry. The home run hitter takes the snap, gets the football. He does the rest, shows off the speed, taking it 90-plus yards to the house.
We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Guys, let's take a look at what's happening in a great college football matchup. Georgia Southern is currently trailing in this one, but it feels like the tide may be turning. This program has picked itself up before, and it's capable of it again today. They're trailing by just 4 to Middle Tennessee. We'll keep you updated on things in a game that could alter the balance of power in the Sun Belt. Fellas?
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. UConn going back to work on offense. That last drive was promising for a while, but you just can't mess it up at the end with the pick, Jesse.
No, you've got to be able to finish drives, especially in this game. If you're going to win, and David, they've got to be able to eliminate the mental mistakes.
Yeah, and I don't think you get conservative or play it safe. You can trust your guy. I think you put the ball right back in his hands and let him do his thing.
After getting knocked back to open this drive, it's 2nd and 12.
325.
Give to the running back. Not a lot of room. It found his way ahead for 2 out to the 26. They're going to keep this drive going. They'll have to make a play on 3rd and long from the 26. From the gun, wants to pass. Quickly complete. Love to see these 3rd down conversions on offense, and they're out to their own 39-yard line.
And I love the awareness by the wide receiver on that play because I'm not sure that route was supposed to be that deep. You got to wonder if the receiver decided maybe to adjust the route a little bit to make sure that he got the first down.
From the 39-yard line, it's 1st and 10.
Flip it. Cricket.
The give is to Williams. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
They're trying to run the ball on 1st down, guys, but just nothing doing up front. Their offensive line got blown up on that play. There was nowhere for that guy to go.
Got stuffed on 1st down. It's 2nd and 10. Wants to go up top. Finds his man down the middle. Makes the grab almost to the 1st down marker, but a good pickup on that one.
And that's just a timing route. And if I'm a quarterback and they're going to sit back in zone, when I run those crossers, man, I just wait for that zone window to open up, anticipate it a little bit, chunk that thing, and let my receiver do the rest of the work.
And the Huskies come to the line on 3rd and short, trying to keep the drive alive. He'll throw on 3rd down. And the incomplete pass will bring up 4th down. So the offense will go for it around midfield. On 4th down, looking for the completion. Big tight end makes the grab. It's a 1st down. Not much of a 4th down gamble when it's that much of a sure thing. An easy conversion for this offense.
That tells you a lot about their confidence in this quarterback. 4th down early in the game on your own end, and you go for it, but when you make decisions and throws like that, it's easy to see why.
Here's the pressure.
It's just so nice to have a QB under center. Nowadays in football, you can trust these guys. You put so much on their plate, and you tell them, go get positive yards when it's there. And a lot of these guys are such great athletes, they can do it with ease.
The Huskies come to the line. This situation, you might see a shot play.
Let's go.
2nd down, he'll throw it. Quarterback moving out of the pocket. And it's picked off right at the goal line. He managed a few yards on that return, but the bigger play was the fact that they forced the turnover.
Well, coming out of the tunnel in the third quarter, this quarterback now is really struggling with his decision-making. 2 picks here in the third quarter. This looks like Jekyll and Hyde from what we saw in the first half.
Well, and the bad thing is they're going to be in passing situations. They're coming from behind. They're going to need him to play better. Like, he's going to have to read the field better and make some plays if they want to get back in this football game.
Syracuse right back at it.
And that wasn't a big game, but look at the offense. Right back on the ball, ready to call a play, ready to go fast.
Wants to fire on second down. Using his legs to buy some time. It's incomplete. Good job by the defense sticking with its coverage.
There's an example of what happens when the quarterback doesn't have a chance to set his feet. The pressure just forced him to have to work off schedule a little bit. And I think because of that, wasn't able to be as accurate as he wanted to be.
On third and long, he's going to have to throw for it. He's got it, and he's still running after the move. Solid work and execution there. They'll have a first down as they mark it at the 40. This offense is like running a perfection drill in practice against air, chunk play after chunk play, and here they come again. Making sure they have good balance, keeping it on the ground. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2.
You want to make play calling easy for an offensive coordinator? Run the ball like that every play. I mean, when you can run that on first down and set up a short yardage on second down, it makes play calling easy. Every single call on that sheet is available here on second down.
He's got enough to give Syracuse the first down.
Really nice run there. You've seen him do this a time and time again in this game so far. You've got the lead. We're way late in the third quarter now. Not going to surprise me if they just keep leaning on this guy a little bit. Keep force-feeding him the football because he's looking really good.
That's caught. It's Williams. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there. Still a bit short of the first down. Second down, they'll go to the air. Moving, keeping the eyes downfield. Nice run there to keep things moving before they force him out of bounds. Defense in press coverage. We've come to the break, and it's Syracuse on top. Let's take a quick look at the national rankings to see how this playoff race is shaping up. One more period to go to see who can make the winning plays and come home with the victory. They go back to work with the first down in the final period of this one. An unforced error there. They don't get the snap off in time. The delay of game pushes the offense back. Syracuse with a fresh set of downs as we open the fourth. Gives it on the option. Did everything he could to discard the tacklers, but he was just able to get back to where he started. Syracuse right back at it.
Well, with the defense trailing, they're trying to dictate to the offense now. Really nice blitz call that time. Blowing the run play up for a huge loss. You're probably going to see that again. They're trying to find a way to create a takeaway, create negative plays, and get the ball back.
That's what I'm talking about. That is how you close, and when a guy's going to make a catch, you make sure he doesn't make it. Physicality, using your pads, running through him, and guess what? Not only this play does he feel it, next time he tries to go over the middle or feels footsteps, this will pay dividends.
On third and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. On target. And the first guy couldn't get him, but the second one does, but not until he picks up the first down. Boy, the defense really needed to get off the field there, and they just couldn't do it, and it's a fresh set of downs.
Man, that hurts. When you're trailing late in the ball game, you need those stops, and you get them to third down. You get them to those critical points. Now they get the first down. You don't have many left. You better get aggressive.
And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9.
Here we go.
Back to pass. Looking to the big.
And that's going to be incomplete. A lot of contact on the play, but no flags. It'll be third down.
Well, the quarterback knew he wanted to go to his tight end on that play. He's a big physical target, but it was the hit on the play that forced the incompletion.
The Orange with a lot of work to do on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Unleashes it. Almost intercepted, and what a momentum swing that could have been, but they still force a 4th down.
You're living dangerously now. You've got the lead late in the game. Don't do anything to turn it over. They almost did throwing it there. If I'm the head coach now, I'm thinking, man, let's just run the ball.
Never a doubt. That gives them now a 7-point lead here in the final period. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Boys, if it's happening in college football, we've got eyes on it. Check this out. Troy is currently trailing in this one, but it feels like the tide may be turning. This program has picked itself up before, and it's capable of it again today.
The UConn offense goes back to work. Boy, they had that last drive moving a little bit, David, but then the mistake just crushed them.
Yeah, and those mistakes are going to happen. You're going to throw the football, you're going to throw interceptions. But I think I stay aggressive with this offense. I get back to what I did on the first part of that drive that made me successful.
I agree, David. Just turn the page if you're a quarterback, right? On this drive, you did a lot of good things there leading up to that pick. Forget about it, move on, play the next play.
Well, will they dial up on 2nd and a long way to go? Keeping it on the ground with the running back. Banging, slithering, whatever it takes to get that ball up to the 32.
It's got to feel good as an offense knowing that early in the drive you can turn around, hand it off, get a push up front, and go get positive yardage.
And the Huskies are at the line trying to move the sticks on 3rd and short. Wants to throw on 3rd down. Under heat, and he gets rid of it. Has no choice but to throw it away, and it'll bring up 4th down. UConn quick to the line. Might be calling a hot route. On 4th down, going to the air. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. Can't find his man. It'll be incomplete, and that is a heartbreaker this late in the game.
And listen, obviously, you know, at this area of the field, it's a question, it's a debate whether or not you go for that on 4th down. At the end of the day, though, I think this coach believes in his own playmakers, and he's got guys on offense that he feels can make a play in that type of situation, and he's got confidence in him. That time they weren't able to come up with it. Be curious to see what this guy does if they're in a similar situation as this game moves on.
The give on the option. Stop behind the line of scrimmage, and that is a rare sight for this defense today against this guy. The Orange just need to get some of that yardage back here on 2nd down. They'll move the wide receiver. The handoff, keep working on that clock. And he never had a chance, just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
Great team defense on that run play. Everybody doing their job. People winning their one-on-ones, D linemen staying in their gaps, linebackers and DBs filling. You just can't do it better.
On on 3rd and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. And good coverage and better hands on that shot to the end zone.
Well, in that last deep shot, it looked to me like the quarterback probably forced that ball into coverage. But can you really blame him, guys? I mean, these two have already hooked up for 2 touchdowns in the game. If I'm him, I'm thinking the same thing. Even when he's covered, he's open. He's shown the ability to climb the ladder and make contested catches. So I don't mind him taking another shot there.
And sometimes I just feel like 4th down, man, just go for it every time. Like the field goal miss, make rate. And listen, kickers have improved the last couple of years, but you left some points off the scoreboard there.
UConn going back to work on offense. We'll see if that failed 4th down in their own end last time, David, sort of curbed some of the aggressiveness.
Well, you hear about it all the time in football. Go for it. Be aggressive. The problem is when you get...
And the pressure gets there. And down he goes at the 18.
Man, a lot of coaches talk about starting the drive positive and a first play that can get you going. The QB just kept backing up and going backwards, and that is not the start to the drive they were looking for.
Now facing 2nd and long after the defense came up with that sack. He lost one down the sideline. He's got it on! Finds someone! Touchdown, UConn! And once he found open space, the band might as well start playing.
Man, that's a play this kid has been running ever since he was 7 years old at the park with his best friend, throwing go routes right down the field. I'm running by a guy, I'm looking back, locating the football, making the catch, and he does it in a big moment here in this game.
Two-point conversion attempt is on the way.
Let's go! Let's go! Ready, set, ready.
From the gun, looking for a man. Those two not on the same page. It's incomplete.
That's a decision I think the head coach is going to be questioned about after this football game, because you could have just tied the game easily with an extra point kick. You went for the lead. You come up short. Do you have time? Can your defense get you the ball back to give you an opportunity to win this one?
On the move from inside his 5. They bring him down, but not before a really good return sets up this offense in solid field position. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. He'll pull it on the read. And a 9-yard gain on 1st down leaves him with 2nd and short.
And you're seeing his dynamic ability to run the football, that time on the option play. I know he doesn't pick up the 1st down, but that's still a good chunk of yardage, and the defense wasn't ready for it. Moving forward, expect the offense to go back to the option play again and see if someone will finally take the quarterback and force him to pitch it.
Quick timeout called by the defense, stopping the clock to save as much time as possible for their offense. The Orange with a ton of options available on 2nd and short. They'll go to the ground. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. Timeout called there by the defense, desperate to get the ball back and save as much time as possible. The Orange now facing a 3rd and short. They'll try to get the first through the air. Snagged in the middle, H. Williams. That'll get the job done and move the chains, and they'll mark the ball at the 45.
And you just get the feeling that this defense has to find a way to get off the field and get the football back at this juncture of the game, trailing late if they're going to win.
2-minute timeout arrives, and this defense desperately needs to get the football back. Syracuse ready to go to work with another 1st down. On the move. Turning it on. Perhaps a touchdown.
we talk about quarterbacks having to make quick decisions, and I think you saw it on that play. Nobody opened downfield, and he just decided to take off.
The Orange, after the explosive play, might go right back to the ground.
Here we go. Set.
The give as they work on that clock. He stopped at the 14-yard line, and they'll stay on the attack from there. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. Motion from the wideout. The lone back's got it. Stopped at the 13-yard line as the drive continues.
And that's exactly what you would expect from this offense. Listen, when you're in that 1 to 2 minute range and you got the football and you got a lead, it's smash mouth, it's keep that clock running, it's ground game. So interesting now on this third down what they do next, but we got to keep that clock moving.
Running back searching for a hole. He's going to lose a yard on that one. They thought maybe they could get the defense flowing the wrong way on the counter, but they were not fooled.
Get them flowing one way and then maybe hit that outside on the other side, right? But they didn't even let it get outside. They kept it right in the middle of the field, did a great job seeing it, going and getting it, being aggressive. You got to find a different way maybe to attack these guys, to use their speed against them.
So with the late lead, they're ready to just drain the clock in victory formation. It came down to the final quarter, clutch plays, guys delivered, and they get the close win.
Yeah, Reese, big-time players make big plays in big games, and that's what happened in this circumstance. As a coaching staff, David, you love this. You know that you have confidence in your guys to go out and be able to execute when it matters the most.
Correct, and you don't know until the games, right? You don't know when those moments present themselves. How are they going to handle it? Great job handling the close game, executing down the stretch like they needed to.
That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.
Yeah.